8 straight home losses. How does that freaking happen? How does that freaking happen? Now, there weren't last year was weird. There weren't fans. This year, they're fans. And they still stink at home. 0-4. About to be 0-5. Sorry. How does that happen?
They haven't won a game since October 18th of 2020 in Levi's Stadium. And it was against the Rams. So, let's take that with a little bit of hope that maybe they end the streak with the Rams as well. I know I'm not going to convince you of that. But why is home field advantage eluding them? What do you see about Levi's that could potentially play into this narrative that there's the Levi's curse or that it's a nondescript place to play and the fan base doesn't get rowdy, the building isn't built in the way that creates excessive crowd noise? What is your take on Levi's as a structure? Does it lack home field advantage?
Well, yeah, clearly. If they lose their next 2 home games, I think they'll have the worst home winning percentage of any stadium in the history of the NFL. And then right now, I think they're like 4th worst. So it's like demonstrable. So why? It's not like yes or no. Yes. So why? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Santa Clara isn't San Francisco. It's not even San Jose. It's a very small little shopping center town with, nothing there. It's got Great America. It's not a town. Really, it's just kind of like I don't know what you would call it. It's not a town.
Yeah, it's definitely not a city. That's for sure.
Area. It's an area. So you moved your city, you moved your place from a historic site where it wasn't glamorous, but it was historic, like where Yankee Stadium is.
Right.
And then you moved it to some area with nothing. So there's that. And then it's always either too hot or it's too cold. And there's nothing special about sitting and watching the game. It's like for rich people. It's like, okay, we can't charge enough for candlesticks. So we're going to make this place for rich people, but rich people don't want to sit out in the open air. There's nothing, doesn't make you feel rich. All the stuff that makes you feel rich are like indoors, underground, lounges, and that's cool. But then what happens is you get this sparse stadium where people are kind of not there. And it's like a tennis match. People are kind of watching, kind of not. They're there for the entertainment. It's like they're not there to watch wins. It's just a really weird, whereas like a candlestick, you were there for one reason only. That's it. I'm here to watch football. I'm here to watch the Niners. I've been doing it's a whole different thing. In
Candlestick wasn't luxury. People urinated in troughs. I mean, it was old school, right?
Yeah, old school.
And that's a very interesting angle that Levi's was built to capitalize on the wealth of Silicon Valley. It was absolutely built to house millionaires and billionaires coming in. Buying luxury boxes, spending immense amounts of money. And many of the best elements of the stadium are things that take you away from the game. They are quite literally designed to drag you away from your seat, down underneath the stadium, into a glass-walled club. Like all these things get you out of your seats. And rich people do what they want to begin with.
You in the seat either. I mean, there's nothing cool about being outside. It's just hot. And it's just like candlestick, really. I mean, there's nothing special about that. So it draws you away from the field. Here's one thing that's emblematic of the problem of Levi's. Even when they're good, they have this section. Of course, there's the west section that has some shade and the east section that has none. And the east section, like the bottom level, is this, like the most expensive section of that level. It's right on the bottom, right in the middle. No one's ever sitting there. Because they're expensive seats and they're exposed to the sun and no one wants to sit there. So it's like, oh, that's the rich people section. They're, in a lounge, something. And it's a bad look. Every game that's empty. Not empty, but sparse. It's a bad look.
I had the privilege of sitting in one of those seats at one point, 2018 against the Cowboys, I believe. It was Dwight Clark's ceremony, that game. I was there in that stadium and I cooked. I mean, I'm pasty white Portland guy, so I'm not designed to sit in the sun like that. And I sat on those east stands and just melted. I could not believe how uncomfortable it was. And it wasn't a terribly hot day.
At what point did you realize this is uncomfortable?
It took like 20 minutes before I was like, this is untenable. Wow. This is complete. And sure enough, the best things were right below me in the basement. Go down, eat all you want, you can eat food, all you can drink.
It's great. But it's like you created this thing where no one wants to be there watching the game. Everyone's inside. There are really nice lounges there. There's good food. You can go all around and watch the game on television and not get roasted, not have to think, am I going to get a heat stroke today?
It's wild that they used the very same stadium design that should have gone in San Francisco for Santa Clara without considering a need for shade in that Santa Clara weather. That's one of the biggest factors to me because it's so uncomfortable. I've felt it myself. I can vouch for those people that are not in the stands that when it's hot out, I don't blame them for not being in the stands.
Yeah, and it's just by far the worst stadium on the West Coast. I mean, the one in Seattle is glorious. The one in Arizona is out in the suburb, but at least you don't roast.
Right.
The one in, the two, Vegas and LA are actually, it seems like people want to sit in your stand. Like it's actually a cool experience sitting in the stands. And then you got Levi's. So
yeah, LA, they put this enormous screen up there so that you sit in your seats and look at it, right? Because it's
same with Dallas.
Yeah.
Same with
keep
Dallas.
You butts in
keep
seats.
You in the seats. Yeah, I'm just saying.
And they didn't even design a stadium that could amplify the noise after witnessing how advantageous that was for Seattle. It blows your mind. It really does.
How long before they're back in San Francisco, in your opinion?
I pray that the sooner the better. I have a brick that sits out there in the entrance to Levi's Stadium that has mine and my wife's name on it, and I'm proud of it. I take a picture by it every time I go to Levi's, but I hope it gets destroyed within the next decade.
I am going to make a prediction right now. It's 2021. I say by 2040, they're back in San Francisco.
I think you're right. I might put it a bit earlier.
It might, yeah. It could be 2030. They might have to get the balls rolling, the wheels rolling on that one, but 2040, for sure.
So much more to gain from being in the city with a marquee stadium.
I mean, the Niners just gave up and left, and Joe Lacob was like, "Can the Warriors go?
Can we have some of that?"
Oh, yeah, that's okay. Well, you want Santa Clara? Okay, you take Santa Clara. We wanted Santa Clara, but you take Santa Clara. We'll go next set. Okay, you win. Fine, we'll take your leftovers. Strange.